After I had attended a very fun poetry slam in Burlington, Vermont in the summer of 2002, I decided that the Vermillion Literary Project should start doing poetry slams, which are competitions for poets. Here you see the winner of the very first VLP Poetry Slam from October 2002, Elliot Harmon. He is showing off one of his prizes, a bumper sticker that says, "I slam, therefore I am." He is also wearing the VLP Slam Gladiator belt, which every winner gets to wear while reciting a poem. Before the start of each VLP Poetry Slam, featured writers read some of their work for 15 to 20 minutes. Here you see Professor Brian Bedard reading some of his short fiction. Here, featured writer Professor Ed Allen entertains the crowd with some of his poetry. Here you see the crowd listening to a slam poet. Off to the left you'll notice Sarah Niffen, VLP member who is keeping track of the time, as slam poets are only allowed 3 minutes for each of their poems. You'll also see Doug Morano, the slam master, who MCs the poetry slam and keeps things moving along. 5 volunteer judges from the audience score the slam poets on a scale of 1 to 10, with the high and the low scores dropped and the remaining 3 scores added up to determine the slam poet's score. Judges' scores are based on the quality of the poem, which must have been written by the slam poet, and the slam poet's performance of the poem. Here is an excerpt of Elliot Harmon performing one of his poems, "Eat Fresh."
All day long I've been thinking about Subway. Specifically, of all the people who've apparently lost so much weight by eating their subs, and of these new television commercials not so much advertising a food as a life, and wondering if such a life exists. Watch them. You see them running around, throwing frisbees, eating subs, comparing their old pants with those of Master Jared, and more than anything else, I need to know that such picnics actually take place. They do, I'll bet. On a nice May afternoon like today, I'll bet Jared calls up the whole gang on his cell phone. "Hey guys, let's go have a picnic." And they discuss everything, who's bringing the subs, buying the soda. Do they drink beer? I suppose not. And then they just get together and share in being together and in not being fat.
In this picture, Karen Ron, a Dakota Writing Project teacher, performs one of her poems at the June 2006 VLP Poetry Slam. Here we see audience members, including teachers from the Dakota Writing Project. Krista Brueggemann, a Dakota Writing Project teacher, earned 3rd place in the June 2006 Slam. Here is an excerpt of surrealist and Dakota Writing Project teacher consultant Annie Christine performing a poem.
Inside a handbasket in the burlesque theater. As you may already be aware, the burlesque theater is upon us, and the granite-encased monoliths of your muscular legs drilled to the sides of the stage are as tall as you are tall between them. They are your legs, after all, and Victorian women know it, and advanced syphilis knows it, and the shining temples of the man rubbing pistachios on his suspenders know it's impossible to avoid the thought of steam beer and a cast-iron stove to read by whenever they're easily distracted.
Here we see 90-year-old Yankton poet Elizabeth Lewis reading her poetry, charming and winning over the crowd. After hearing Elizabeth Lewis read in the first round, Tony LaPointe, a Vermillion poet, said, shaking his head, "I don't know if I can beat the old lady." Elizabeth Lewis did in fact win the June 2006 Poetry Slam, and according to Poetry Slam Inc., is the oldest slam winner on record. Here we see Joel Waters, who has been a popular poet at the VLP Poetry Slams. Kate Crown, on her way from Chicago to Denver, heard about the VLP Poetry Slam and decided to stop and participate. She won it, hands down. Many good things have come out of the VLP Poetry Slams, including Elliot Harmon getting to be on the Omaha Slam team that went to the Nationals a few years ago. The VLP Poetry Slam scene continues to thrive and grow, promoting poetry and poets.